Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to ask a question, Mr. Chair. My name's Tony Fonts. I'm from Airlie Beach, Queensland. And you've talked a lot about climate change this morning, but let me tell you, I find it bloody cold here in Sydney, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Airlie Beach. Where in Airlie Beach, for the last 40 years, I've lived the dream. I'm one of those lucky people that calls the Great Barrier Reef my home, and my work is diving. And it has been a dream. However, over the past few years, that dream is fast becoming a nightmare for that very reason of climate change. Many of the dive sites, my favorite dive sites, cornucopias of life, have become wasteland. Now, most of you have probably read about the impacts of climate change on coral reefs, things like coral bleaching, ocean acidification, etc. But as a diver, I see that every day. I see the bleaching. I smell the bleaching. I touch the bleaching. And let me tell you, it is soul-wrenching. Brings tears to my eyes to just think about it. And it's brought me down to Sydney, and I've got a very important question I'd like to ask. I've got to get it right, so I'll read it. I don't have a teleprompter.
I appreciate that.
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change 1.5 degrees report released last October showed that if we limit global warming to 1.5 degrees, then we will only see 70 to 90% of the corals die across the globe. That's the good news, isn't it? Because you mentioned Intergovernmental Panel. I'm sure you're familiar with this report. But if we let global warming get to 2 degrees, then it's likely that 99% of coral reefs across the globe will perish. And that, of course, includes my reef, the Great Barrier Reef. Now, the same report outlines scenarios for how to limit warming to 1.5 degrees. And the only scenarios that included increases in oil and gas consumption assumed widespread use of carbon capture and storage, a technology which isn't viable and that QBE in its energy policy has recognized as not being viable. So while I laud your move to stop supporting coal, my question, why is QBE prepared to help the oil and gas industries expand through investments and underwriting and destroy the Great Barrier Reef? Thank you.
You know, it's a really good question, and it's one that we obviously have emotional sensitivity to, hence the actions we've been taking in our sustainability report and on the climate change topic. We have worked hard to develop the program that we have to date, and we've tried to balance a lot of different interests of different constituencies in doing that. We're very supportive of the Paris Accord. We've committed ourselves to be carbon neutral in the way we operate our business, and we've articulated as clearly and transparently as we can where we are today on our energy policy. But it's a living document, and we're continuing to challenge and assess what we're doing as a corporation. But what we've printed and published in the sustainability report and the energy policy is where the company is at the moment.
Thank you. I can only encourage you to keep that document living and moving quickly towards reducing any support for oil and gas. Decisions you make here today and tomorrow impact a lot more than just the people sitting in this room. Thank you.
We truly appreciate that and very much appreciate your taking the time to say what you did.